always never favorites, or like what's absolute?
Not leaving any variability for being wrong.
Or changing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everybody, it's Coach Abby, Coach Logan, and we're going to be discussing the topic of talking in absolutes.
And then maybe some other questions,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
Not absolutely sure.
Maybe,
Yeah.
we'll see.
So these are just things that Abby and I talk about, debate, consider
Yeah.
in life in general,
On the regular.
in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is, do you speak in absolutes? Why do you speak in absolutes if you do? Why do you not speak in absolutes if you don't? Do you utilize the word "it depends" or the phrase "it depends"? I made a joke about being someone who has bladder issues and a diaper joke because you say the word "depends" so much. Do you understand the words toxic compassion and what they mean and how that all kind of relates?
Oh, wait, these are more questions.
No, it all relates.
To absolutes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So do you speak in absolutes? Do you have facts in your mind that don't allow for variability and change? And just having the opportunity to be curious and connecting through individuals. So speaking in absolutes kind of stonewalls people into having conversations or getting to know someone a little bit more or understand someone else's opinion, just from our experiences with that stuff too. So looking through the world with a lens of curiosity and willing to see other perspectives, other ideas, and see what you can get from them is helpful rather than speaking in terms of absolutes. Had a conversation this past weekend with one of our clients, and someone told him he couldn't absorb more than 40 grams of protein in a meal, and there's pointless to eat that much protein in a meal, which you're talking, you have to understand the definition of the individual first. So what does that actually mean to that person? Mm-hmm. You're working under a lot of assumptions. Language itself is meant to be understood, but people don't actually say what they mean all the time or understand what they're saying or understand how someone else is interpreting what they're saying. So the assumptions can lead to a basis, and you listen to a podcast about this, well, we both have, of assuming completely different definitions, and then you end up talking about things that are completely different.
Yeah, I always think when you're communicating, it means a lot more that the other person understands what you're saying more than you are not. I mean, you have to still understand what you are saying, but it's more important to have a good idea if that person is really understanding the language you're using to describe something or whatever it is, than it is to care so much about what you are saying and how you're saying it, that you get stuck in only being able to say it in one way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So.
And that whole idea of not asking questions, assuming understanding, can lead to, as one form of toxic compassion, which is a lot of the movements out there where people will shut down their Instagram, post a post that's in absolutes without actually having any type of understanding of what's really going on. Mm-hmm. So toxic compassion is more of the appearance of how it looks rather than you actually having an opinion or a well thought out process for how you truly feel about something, and more worried and considered of what everyone else will think about you versus what is actually going on through questioning, through understanding, through curiosity, not being in the world of absolutes, thinking of it as it depends and considering all the other variables for that as they relate to you specifically. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Leading in.
Toxic compassion is more about you looking good than it is actually about being compassionate.
Yeah, Chris Williamson has a really good conversation or premise on that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like a theory.
Mm-hmm. Would you listen to yourself talk? If you were a stranger listening to yourself, would the things that are coming out of your mouth be worth hearing? And that's just a thing to shift your perspective on what are you actually contributing to a conversation? Is the conversation meant to be driven by what could be considered droning on talk, or asking more questions rather than saying things that don't really matter? And offering up a prime opportunity for silence, listening, and then potentially questioning.
Right.
Right. Just things to think about. Anything else to add?
What about if someone uses "it depends" as a way to understand what someone else would say so that they can adjust their view to them?
Yeah.
That's not always necessarily the right lens, I guess. Like, is it authentically "it depends," or is it depends based on what you say? And I mean, of course, you don't want to you don't have to give your full, most elaborate answer to everybody or anything like that to any question, but it's good to have the awareness of why you're saying "it depends," or why you're talking in absolutes, or why you care about the world, thinking you're compassionate, and maybe you're not actually compassionate in everyday life, but you want people to think you are. Yeah, do you listen to
Would you listen to yourself? Like, as a stranger, would you listen to yourself if you were talking? Would you listen to what you have to say as a stranger?
Probably. Is that am I answering that question for
Good.
myself?
You sure could. Yeah.
I mean, I would say probably. Sometimes, probably not. I might just be like, yeah, I don't know. What are absolutes?
For what?
Like, what kind of language is language of absolutes, I guess? Like, I would never do this, or I don't do that, or
Yeah. Well, just lack of speaking with any type of caveat, generally,
right.
or an approximation, or saying generally. Like, just being aware that you are open to the possibility that what you're saying is wrong, or
Right.
could change.
Yeah. I guess favorites and stuff could fall in there. Because that
This or that.
implies it might be, yeah, this or that. I mean, those are kind of fun questions sometimes. Like we have this or that on the whiteboard, but as a way to get people's minds thinking about this thing or that thing. But it doesn't mean that there's also no possible way to ask on a whiteboard all the possible scenarios that you can answer.
Yeah, it depends is a choice, and then you have to consider all the things in your mind prior, and then give your best choice. But it's a game.
Right. Yeah, you have to be open to seeing things a different way, or at least being curious enough to try and see them from another perspective or somebody else's perspective or whatever it is. Would you listen to yourself talk? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good way to audit your self.
Your verbal pollution to other people's ears.
Right. Bring an external awareness to just what you're actually
And then also,
saying.
if you already have this turned up to 11 and you hate yourself, that's a totally different thing.
Wait, what?
Like you have this internal voice in your head that says, shut up, you're an idiot all the time. Maybe you need to be able to talk about some things too.
Right. That would, yeah.
Maybe that shift, yeah, I actually would have to, but I don't talk, but I would actually listen to what I have to say.
Right. Give you a little bit of confidence about yourself that you might not think of in that context.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I have value to add to the world. Oh,
Wait a minute, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I thought that 6 months ago and didn't say anything. Well,
Yep.
maybe you should.
What else? Anything else?
I don't think so.
I just talked for so long.
It was good.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Internal monologue is, I don't know if I added any value to this YouTube.
Let the camera roll.
Yeah. So.
All right. Sign off.
Speaking to strangers.
Gotta go to a
through
movie.
Camera. Movies. Going to the movies.
Love a good movie.
Yeah, just
general
love the
movie,
movies.
the general time of the year.
Yep. Any movie possible.
It's cloudy in Pittsburgh. It could be any time
Yep.
of the year in Pittsburgh.
Any movie.
Pittsburgh. All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.